Hello and welcome to Cinema Wellman. I'm your host David, and tonight is the night. The 98th Academy Awards ceremony will be held this very night. And even though I won't watch it, I'm always interested in the results. If you're a regular visitor to Cinema Wellman, you know that we revealed the rest of our ballot during our last episode, which we posted yesterday. If you watch that, you know who we cast our votes for. The Academy won't really let us vote, of course. In 23 of the now 24 categories, all of our choices have been revealed except for Best Picture, which means it's time for our annual Cinema Wellman Best Picture rundown. All 10 films, which is once again 5 too many, will be ranked during today's episode. Once again, my choices are not predictions. Predicting award winners is a fool's errand. All of my Oscar picks and this ranking is based solely on my opinions, which are worth whatever they're worth. And from what I've read this season, my opinions are going to be way off, but that's all good with me. I'm pretty sure I'll have my lowest number of winners on my ballot in recent years because I wasn't a big fan of a couple of the favorites. It's an underdog year for me. So here are the 10 nominees for the 98th Best Picture Oscar, followed by Cinema Wellman's rankings. I'll begin by introducing each film with the number of Oscar nominations and the usual info I usually throw at you when talking about a film, and then we will give you our rankings from number 10 to number 1, which is the only way to ever do anything that's presented on the interwebs. 10 to 1. You can't start with 1. If I click on something and you're ranking and you start with number 1, I'm not reading the rest of it. Forget it. Okay, here we go. And these are listed in alphabetical order. We're going to begin with Begonia. 4 Oscar nominations, rated R, 118 minutes, IMDb 7.4, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. IMDb tells us 2 conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnapped the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. Next, F1 the movie, 4 Oscar nominations, PG-13, 155 minutes, IMDb 7.6, directed by Joseph Kosinski. A Formula One driver comes out of retirement to mentor and team up with a younger driver. Frankenstein, 9 Oscar nominations, rated R, 149 minutes, IMDb 7.4, directed by Guillermo del Toro. IMDb, Dr. Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant but egotistical scientist, brings a creature to life in a monstrous experiment that ultimately leads to the undoing of both the creator and his tragic creation. Hamnet, 8 Oscar nominations, PG-13, 125 minutes, IMDb 7.9, directed by Chloe Zhao. After losing their son Hamnet to a plague, Agnes and William Shakespeare grapple with grief in 16th century England. A healer, Agnes must find strength to care for her surviving children while processing her devastating loss. Marty Supreme, 9 Oscar nominations, rated R, 149 minutes, IMDb 7.8, directed by Josh Safdie. Marty Mauser, a young man with a dream no one respects, goes to hell and back in pursuit of greatness. One Battle After Another, 13 Oscar nominations, rated R, 161 minutes, IMDb 7.7, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. When their enemy resurfaces after 16 years, a group of ex-revolutionaries reunite to rescue the daughter of one of their own. The Secret Agent from Brazil, 4 Oscar nominations. Rated R, 161 minutes, IMDb 7.3, directed by Kleber Mendonça Filho. In 1977, a technology expert flees from a mysterious past and returns to his hometown of Recife in search of peace. He soon realizes that the city is far from being the refuge he seeks. Sentimental Value from Norway, 9 Oscar nominations, rated R, 133 minutes, IMDb 7.8, directed by Joachim Trier. An intimate exploration of family, memories, and the reconciliatory power of art. Sinners, a record 16 Oscar nominations. Rated R, 137 minutes, IMDb 7.5, directed by Ryan Coogler. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. Train Dreams, 4 Oscar nominations. Rated PG-13, 102 minutes, IMDb 7.5, directed by Clint Bentley. Based on Dennis Johnson's beloved novella, Train Dreams is the moving portrait of Robert Grenier, a logger and railroad worker who leads a life of unexpected depth and beauty in the rapidly changing America of the early 20th century. So there are your 10, too many, nominees, and here are Cinema Wellman's ranking of those 10. Opinions. Number 10, Marty Supreme. If you watched yesterday's episode, you know that I have no use for Timothée Chalamet. I didn't rate this or any of these 10 nominees as a bomb, but I really didn't enjoy Marty Supreme at all. I found the title character obnoxious and egotistical, which I'm sure was the goal. And I was rooting for him to fail from the start. I had very little interest in this, and I saw it after Wonka Jr. made his anti-opera and ballet comments, and then I actually had to pay $20 to rent it. So this is definitely number 10, and more proof that I could never be a film critic. I'm just a film fan. Number 9, One Battle After Another. Cinema Wellman voted for Tiana Taylor, Best Supporting Actress. I'm very hit or miss with the films of director Paul Thomas Anderson, and this one was a miss. Sean Penn's character weirded me out way too much. So creepy, and it became such a distraction. And I may be tiring of Leonardo DiCaprio a little bit. This also reminded me of other movies that are trying to be Tarantino movies. I realize Anderson is a better director than that, a way better director than that, and a better director than Tarantino. But I still felt that way while watching this. Number 8, The Secret Agent. I enjoyed the overall feel of this Brazilian film, which at times had me thinking I was watching a documentary. It also reminded me of Costa Gravas political thrillers as well. An added treat for me is that there was also more than a couple references to Jaws, and you know how I feel about that. Number 7, F1. Cinema Wellman voted for film editing and sound. I saw F1 so long ago now that it was the last movie I watched when I had my AMC subscription. I'm pretty sure that's the last one. It is not very fresh in my mind at all, except, of course, for what I thought was exceptional film editing and sound, which explains my votes for it in those categories. I enjoyed F1, but I definitely enjoyed live races much more. And I just watched the Chinese Grand Prix before I shot this. Next, number 6, sentimental value. I'm sure there are differences between the average Norwegian family and the average American family, but there are some commonalities that exist regardless of, I guess, whatever two countries you are comparing. I was interested in sentimental value because it's a movie about a movie, and I was drawn to the relationship Stellan Skarsgård's character has with his 2 adult daughters. I have 2 adult daughters, but I'm not a famous film director who casts one of them in a film that depicts events too close to home for a dysfunctional family. I found this quite compelling and well acted. Number 5, Hamnet. Cinema Wellman voted for costume design, original score, and casting. As I mentioned in our Oscar ballot episode, Jessie Buckley is amazing in this film about a woman dealing with the death of her child. I recently saw Buckley in a short that will make March's best list, so more on her and more on that later. And I'm very excited to see her in The Bride, which is Maggie Gyllenhaal's Frankenstein tale set in 1930s Chicago with Christian Bale as Frank. Really looking forward to that. I'm a big fan of Jessie Buckley, and she was the centerpiece in this film that I enjoyed because William Shakespeare really wasn't the focus of it. Paul Mescal was great as Will, but he was definitely a supporting character. Number 4, Train Dreams. Cinema Wellman voted for cinematography. The Pacific Northwest is a beautiful area of our country, and parts of it remain virtually untouched today, allowing the beauty of nature to flourish. It's difficult trying to imagine it during the early part of the 20th century when things weren't nearly as chaotic or built up or complicated. Director Clint Bentley brings this world to us, so we don't need to imagine it. Beautifully shot by Adolfo Veloso in Washington State, Train Dreams has a hypnotic quality to it as we follow Joel Edgerton's character's life in a world that is quickly changing around him. I think the movie critics would describe it as atmospheric, but I'm not a movie critic. Number 3, Sinners. Cinema Wellman voted for original screenplay, visual effects, Michael B. Jordan as Best Actor, and Ryan Coogler as Best Director. I had already seen Sinners when it set the record for the most Academy Award nominations for a movie with a total of 16, and my first thought was, why? I honestly didn't think that much of it. I thought it was too long, too ambitious, and I thought it didn't know what kind of movie it wanted to be. Thinking I must be wrong, I had to be wrong, I watched it again, and as it turns out, yeah, I was kind of wrong. Turns out that I really wasn't in the mood for it at the time, and I didn't give it a proper chance during my first screening, and that's why I'm all about repeated viewings of films. Upon second viewing, I enjoyed it much, much more. It's still a bit too long for me, but a lot of movies are, but I now appreciate what Ryan Coogler was attempting, and I applaud his ambition. I'm curious to see how many of the 16 Oscars it takes home tonight. Those big numbers don't always pay off. 6 films in Oscar history went into the night with 10 plus nominations and walked out with 0. The Bagel, Squadooch, right? No way that's happening to Sinners, and I'm not saying it's going no way, but those big numbers of nominations don't always pan out. Number 2, Begonia. Every time I think of this film in the future, I will curse my left index finger and blame myself for ruining it for me. I'm a huge fan of director Yorgos Lanthimos, and I think both Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons are fantastic. And when I read the premise, I was all in. Conspiracy theory, aliens, fantastic. Jesse Plemons, after the Oscar nominations were announced, I started the studio computer one day and that annoying wall of Microsoft crap shows up as usual. Most of the time I don't even look at it. But I saw something about Stone's Oscar nomination making history, so I foolishly clicked on it, and the twist of the entire movie was given away in the very first sentence. I'd say this is an example of irresponsible and shoddy journalism, but calling that internet shit journalism is an insult to journalism. So I watched Begonia knowing the answer from the start, and I still really liked it, which is a testament to Lanthimos, Stone, and Plemons. I also think the end of this film is brilliant. Which leads us to number 1, which shouldn't be a surprise, and if you're keeping score at home, you know there's only one left, Frankenstein. Cinema Wellman voted for Jacob Elordi for supporting actor, makeup and hairstyling, adapted screenplay, and production design. I feel I don't really need to add much to what I've already said about this film. I already spoke about it when it was part of a best of list before the Oscar nominations came out, and then I heaped more praise on it during yesterday's Oscar ballot episode where it earned 4 of our votes. It may not win any of them, but it's still my favorite film on this year's Best Picture list. Guillermo del Toro can really do no wrong in my book. And when you can give me a Frankenstein story and a Frankenstein movie I love, and it's my 16th different Frankenstein movie, I'll see anything you make. Amazing. Well, that is a wrap from here at Cinema Wellman as we ranked this year's 10 too many Best Picture nominees. If you're tuning in tonight, enjoy. I will be watching ballet and listening to opera instead. We hope you join us next time for a Cinema Wellman March Madness special. Just in time for the tournament, we have some basketball movies for you to shoot for. That's really so. Okay, who wrote this? Until then, take care.